What's going on, YouTube? It's Rochelle Tannen back at you with another video this weekend. It's March 9th, 2024, and my light broke, my camera light, so I'll be playing with the light. Sorry about that. Thanks, Amazon. But this video is going to be about Katt Williams and Sean Puffy P. Diddy Combs. So two things. This video might run a little long, and a lot of y'all ain't gonna like what I have to say about this, but I don't really give a shit because I'm negative, I'm hating, and am what? That's who I am. Fuck it. I'm gonna start with Katt Williams. And I know I've been reading you all's comments and your videos, and all you're praising Katt Williams like you do Jaguar Wright and all these clowns. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not gonna defend Katt Williams. I'm tired of Katt Williams. I kind of agree with Trick Daddy, and there was another comedian who said something about Katt Williams not being funny. I did watch the interview about with him with Shannon, I think his name is. I don't watch him, so. But Katt Williams just started becoming funny to me in his last couple stand-ups. I never found him funny. Never. I am so sick and tired of Katt Williams dragging other black male artists. And some females too. He is in no position to be anybody's judge and fucking jury. Now, I know all y'all talking about it's a year of the truth and all this other stuff. You know, before Google bought YouTube and the conspiracy, quote unquote, community was big on YouTube. That's what got me into YouTube. The arrivals and all that stuff from 2008 and up. Before Google bought it and censored YouTube so bad. They were talking about something called controlled opposition, and that's what Katt Williams, Jaguar Wright, and all these clowns are. And Katt Williams is in, again, no position to be so judgmental. He talks about that dress and Kevin Hart wearing a dress and this one wearing a dress and da-da-da-da-da. But your whole claim to fame is being a pimp. And a pimp is nothing to aspire to. I know the word pimp and the idea of pimping is much like the idea of crack dealers of the 80s and 90s. It's been watered down. It's a part of pop culture, but it's not good for black culture. So if your claim to fame is always being a pimp, who are you to judge a black man that's in dress for theater? Now, Kevin Hart, I'm in Kevin Hart's city. Shout out to Philly. I'm in his city. Kevin Hart wasn't my cup of tea when he first got on, but I've learned to like him too because I love work he does with Dwayne Johnson or The Rock. And some of his stand-up jokes are funny. But Kevin Hart or any comedian or anybody in black entertainment has to work hard to get where they are. And it's very concerning when I see other black men tearing each other down because they don't like the road they took to get famous. Kevin Hart, Eddie Murphy, all these people that have worn, quote, the dress. I don't know what it is to be in Hollywood. I don't know their reasons. I know in theater, a man wearing a dress is not new. When thousands of years ago, when Romans walked the earth and ruled the earth, women weren't allowed to be in theater, so they would put young boys in women roles in the times of Shakespeare and things. So it's not that far-fetched. But Katt Williams, he's like Jaguar Wright. They're not these bastions of truth that you guys want to believe they are. Because if they were, why were they in the same space of the people they talk about? I've seen re-edited versions of that interview where he's naming all the comedians that get wives that don't do interviews and all this stuff, and they're showing pictures of all these comedians in a dress. Katt Williams has a lot of nerve. He was in Norbit. You know, one of Eddie Murphy's worst movies where he's in a dress. Katt Williams was in Norbit. He might have not worn the dress, but if you took the role, you co-signing that shit. So who are you to talk about the next person? And understand, if they're allowing Katt Williams to say all this shit, Katt Williams is getting a check for this. Like Jaguar Wright. And I made a couple videos about her. I want her to shut the fuck up. I don't care what these artists, Mary J. Blige, P. Diddy, and all them do in their personal lives. It's none of my business. I like their work. And there's nothing these people could ever say to make me not like their work. Y'all better better check up on these niggas, and instead of crowning them as the kings or queens of truth, they have an agenda too. They have an agenda too. Believe that shit. And I can no longer support Katt Williams because I don't like seeing black people tear down other black people. And in this arena, this isn't about money. Like, as I said in my other video about Kelly Rowland, this is not about money. This is about ego and attention. If Katt Williams was really down for blacks and stuff as he speaks, he wouldn't be tearing down these other black people. Let me tell you niggas something. Hey, listen here. There are white people in Hollywood that are pulling the strings. How come Jaguar Wright and them don't ever talk about the ones we don't hear about? Not Clive Davis and all them. We already know Tony Mottola and all them. The ones that we don't hear their names, that are signing checks and pulling strings on you niggas that are really the wicked ones out there in Hollywood. Y'all don't ever talk about them. Y'all talk about fellow artists. And truth be told, none of these niggas really have any power. If we're being 100% honest, none of these niggas have power. None of them. From Jay-Z, Beyonce down. One of the most powerful blacks in entertainment was Bill Cosby. And look what they did to him. Michael Jackson, look what they did to him. None of these niggas have power. So you would think at this point in time they want to work together to rebuild black image, black culture, black film, black music, black on and on. But no. Katt Williams is up here tearing down other comedians that worked hard to get where the fuck they are. And I can't respect that. I understand if you don't find Kevin Hart funny, but Kevin Hart worked hard, because let me tell you something. His city's full of wannabe entertainers, comedians, writers, on and on. He worked hard to get where he was. So it leaves a bad taste in my mouth for Katt Williams to be downing these other people. Because, again, arguably, Katt Williams ain't even all that fucking funny. You can only be a pimp so many times. I think it's very disheartening what he was talking about. And no, I'm not going to watch the rest of that interview. Because somewhere, again, he's getting a check for this bullshit. And Katt Williams is going to fuck around and no one's going to want to work with him. He's going to get what he wants. So no one's going to work with him. Now, moving on to Diddy. And I know you niggas ain't gonna like this, but I don't give a fuck. Sean Combs, Puff Daddy is my dude. He always will be. And Cassie's full of shit. I am so sick and tired of these so-called women being, quote, victims of men of that caliber of a P. Diddy or R. Kelly. They're always victims, but they never leave. It bothers me because there are really women out here right now that are getting assaulted, beat up. They can't leave because they're relying on their mate's income, or they have children, or whatever their case is. We got these broads like a Cassie. Cassie never had any talent. Cassie's job was to be a knockoff Jennifer Lopez. Because say what you will about Jennifer Lopez, she ain't the best singer and whatnot, but she's a great production and she's very smart. She didn't need Diddy. Cassie needs Diddy. Go back and watch that video, Me and You, from back in the day. Cassie couldn't sing, she can't dance, and she's okay looking. Now here it is 20 years later, you're filing a civil suit because you're fucking broke. That's what this shit's about, money. And all you other motherfuckers coming out the woodworks to sue Sean Combs. I don't care what Sean Combs' preference is behind closed doors. What does that have to do with the strides this man has made in production and music? What's that got to do with anything? No, the real thing is, again, Cassie's broke. She never had any talent. So she can't make money on her own. So now she wants to play victim. And you guys eat this shit hook, line, and sinker. And yes, I know there have been rumors about Diddy for years. So what? Hollywood and that lifestyle is not for the faint of heart. If you got a faint heart, don't be an entertainer. Because I imagine if you're any kind of entertainer, you're going to see some wild shit. Not just here in the States, around this globe. And when you have money and access, you're gonna indulge in things everyday people can't indulge in. Now, they're saying people are walking away from Puff Daddy, and I believe that too. It's like the late great Tupac said at the beginning of Hit 'Em Up, I ain't got no motherfucking friends. I think that Diddy's finding that out now. You guys are so quick to crucify nowadays, especially Gen Z and late millennials. You guys always want to cancel someone's work and cancel this person for shit they did 20 years ago. This is just for Gen Z and late millennials. I hope you motherfuckers are squeaky clean in the future, because you guys post a lot. You post any and everything. And Generation A is soon to be Generation B. They're looking at you all and this cancel culture that you cultivate and develop. So 10, 20 years from now, again, I'm talking from now, Gen Z, make sure you don't do anything unscrupulous, because it's going to be dug up. And the culture you all are creating, you want to cancel people for mistakes they made 20 years ago. You want to cancel people because of what they do behind closed doors with other consenting adults. And I'm not with that. I'm not with that. As I said about R. Kelly, I'll say it about this situation with Diddy, even Bill Cosby. These women were consenting adults. And all of this shit boils down to money. All of it. And even with the money aside, you cannot take away someone's work that's great just because of their personal life, because no one knows what went on. Then you got all these people, these bodyguards and all these people trying to get a check off of Diddy. And now all of a sudden people are talking this and that and the third. It seems to me when Diddy was making all these people millionaires, and yeah, if they pissed away their money, that's on them. When back in the late 90s, in the early 2000s, when Bad Boy was scorching hot, I ain't hear nobody complaining then. It seems like they only complain when they're fucking broke. I think of Jaguar Wright and what she says about Diddy and Jay-Z and all of them. So why are you up in that space? And that goes for a lot of you aspiring internet rappers and singers and dancers. Why are y'all trying to be in that space if you're so sanctimonious? If you're so sanctified, you should want to be around these people. But these Jaguar Wright, Katt Williams, Cassie, all these type of, they wanted to be in this space. Because Cassie could have left. She could have left. She could have left a long time ago. If you're being abused to that magnitude, and she doesn't even have kids with Diddy, she could have left. But no, she likes that lifestyle. That's what it is. She likes that lifestyle, and now she's talking about all the things she had to do to maintain it. Bitch, you don't have any talent. What else was you supposed to do to maintain it? Your job was to be a freak. That's all you are, is limber. Because again, if y'all don't believe me, go back and look up Cassie, Me and You. That's one of the worst songs ever. Diddy did the best he could with that. She can't sing, dance, she has no talent. So now she wants to sue this man, and y'all really believe this shit is about abuse. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. It ain't about abuse. It's about her wanting to keep that mansion and those nice cars and being able to jet set around the world and wear $10,000 dresses and shit. She wants to keep that and simultaneously bringing this man down. And Diddy, to me, I was watching something this morning about how Diddy said if he goes down, a whole list of people going down. That's a Nino Brown move. And I ain't mad at him. Because there's, with black entertainers, we'll take white entertainers out of it for a minute. Since the 90s, a lot of you niggas were doing unscrupulous things because you young people don't get it, but I get it. Diddy wasn't and Dame Dash wasn't. But most of these old rappers and shit, they're nothing but old crack dealers, and that's how they think. And that's how they execute. So a lot of them were doing dirt back in the day. And there's a part of me that says, let sleeping dogs lie. I mean, you can't change things, and you can't change the times of yesteryear. And again, a lot of you that think you can, make sure that your social media is clean. Make sure that you don't do anything that the public wouldn't like, especially if you're trying to be in a public eye, because you guys are setting up a climate to cancel people over things they did when they were young. Diddy was young in the 90s and early 2000s. And he was rich, he was good looking, and he's probably done things I wouldn't agree with. But again, the Hollywood lifestyle ain't for the faint of heart. A great illustration of that, speaking of P. Diddy, is Get Him to the Greek. Get Him to the Greek is not just a phenomenal movie. Shout out to Jonah Hill. It's not just a phenomenal movie, but it's a good insight on the crazy shit that really happens in Hollywood. I believe everything, and they present it. It's so hilarious, but it's not for the faint of heart. So after she gets paid and they get done crucifying Diddy, who's next? And y'all got your sights on Jay-Z, which is no surprise because Jay-Z's always been known to be a snake. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. But should his work be canceled over private personal things? No. Not Diddy, not Mary J. Blige, because these people worked hard. They didn't wake up one morning and just be who they are. These people made their music world renowned when there was no internet. When you really had to go out and work circuits and work shows and get your shit out there. If it wasn't for Sean Combs, we wouldn't have Mary J. Blige, the Queen. The Queen, that's all I'm going to say. We wouldn't have Jodeci. No. We wouldn't have Biggie. And I know whatever happened with Biggie is bad things behind the scenes, but that's what all of them. And a lot of them niggas, they shook to talk about what happened to Biggie, Tupac, Big Pun, any of them niggas, because there's a bullet for them too. Like I said earlier, these Negroes have no real power. I'll put it like this. It's like the great Chris Rock said. He did an old joke, and it's the truth. There are white people walking around this planet right now, as I'm making this video. If they woke up with Oprah Winfrey's money, they fucking slit their throat. All these entertainers that y'all want to say are Illuminati and all this other nonsense, they're not. They're puppets. Now, they may be part of the crossover, the takeover, sure. But they have no real power. They have no real power because especially black male entertainers, some of my favorite entertainers, none of them ever get to die with a clean slate. That should be bothersome to black people. Because let me tell you, a lot of these white stars, they're dirty. Look at Danny Matheson. What happened with him? And I will never hear these black stars tearing down white stars or Hispanic stars, just each other. And I think that's wrong. And we're not even going to get into the people that Diddy gave a chance behind the scenes. The show that I used to love, the show on Food Network called Chopped. Diddy's personal chef was on that show. It was a black woman. I forgot her name because it's years ago. Y'all can look it up. She ended up winning Chopped. And she worked for Diddy. Diddy helped people behind the scenes and in front of the camera. I don't care if he's all in the videos. He's from Harlem. Of course he loves the camera. He's like Dame Dash. Harlem niggas like to be seen, from what I understand. They're always on Front Street. That's their culture. That's what they do. But that does not take away from the opportunities, the production, and the work that this man gave the world. And no, I don't believe Cassie. I don't believe you were abused. I don't. Because, again, you don't even have kids. Diddy has 5 or 6 kids, and none of them are with you. You could have left anytime you wanted to and go be broke like you were when he picked you up, cleaned you up, and gave you a lifestyle. Probably gave that bitch things she can't even pronounce. And, again, she wants to keep that lifestyle. And dog him and drag his name through the mud simultaneously. And all you black producers and all you motherfuckers jumping on, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. If you were that fucking traumatized, you should have said that shit back in the early 2000s. You should have said this shit when the internet first blew up in the mid 2000s. Y'all are gonna burn. Yeah, the same hell y'all trying to send Diddy, R. Kelly, soon to be Jay-Z, and all these people to is the same hell you're going to. And far as you everyday people, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If Diddy did sell his soul, much like R. Kelly, at least they got a really good price for it. You everyday niggas that are talking this and that, y'all sell your souls. Hell, a lot of you sold your children's souls for cheap. At least Diddy got his work out. At least Diddy has changed history in the world and lived a lifestyle that would that we us everyday people aspire to live in. I'm talking monetarily, not Hollywood particularly, but having the monetary freedom to do what the fuck you want and call shots. Like my boy Diddy said back in the day, and I'm gonna end it with this: don't worry if he writes rhymes, he writes checks. And I hope he comes out victorious on this. And if he has to air out the whole music business, Diddy, you got people out here supporting you. Fuck these clowns. Fuck Jaguar Wright. Fuck Katt Williams and all of them. If y'all don't like being in the limelight, stand the fuck aside and let other new people get on. Since it's so demonic, since you don't like it, since all these people are doing all these things, stand the fuck aside and let some new talent get on. Because again, Jaguar Wright was never that talented. Cassie isn't talented. And Katt Williams is arguable. Katt Williams is arguable. Like I said, how many times can you play a pimp? You talking about a nigga in a dress? At least Kevin Hart gives some sort of variety from his stand-up to his movies. Because Jumanji is phenomenal. How many times can you play a pimp? How many times can you play a stereotypical, shuckin' jivin', cool jive turkey pimp, Cat? And on that note, guys, because I don't want it to run too long, I'm going to be making another couple videos more than likely. I see my new subscribers, and I thank you. I'm Rochelle Tannen. I'm out of here.